Good morning, everyone. This is Royce Miller coming back at you with yet another frozen pizza review. And today on the docket, we're looking at Home Run in Pizza. This one has been requested by a couple people, but one person in particular, and I need to start writing these names down because it sucks that the thing I record my videos on is the thing I also use to read YouTube comments. Technology, right? Like we didn't even have these 15 or 16 years ago, and now they're part of our daily lives. Now, I have never heard of home run in pizza. I've always heard of stuff like, Jack's, Red Baron, etc. So this one's going to be interesting for me. Already the crust looks very unique. Like, it looks very different than normal, like, frozen pizza crust. The cheese and everything, like, it looks more like, if I had to specify, it looks more like something, I don't know. This is going to be a weird pull. Any of you ever have Piccadilly pizza? It's a gas station, or it's a brand of pizza that gets served at gas stations. They're pre-made pies, and the gas station just bakes them in like, a kind of like a big toaster oven. There was one, there was a gas station that had them near my old place, and I would occasionally get one. Now, my old place when I lived with my mom, and I would occasionally get one. They're cheap, but pretty decent. Anyway, first things first, let's try the pepperoni. Got a greasy boy here. Now, it said uncured pepperoni, and I'm not sure how that translates, but it does taste a little funky. Like maybe, I don't know. Freezer burn, maybe? I don't know. Maybe spoiled. I hope not. But it's okay. So that's not a super good start, but let's try the pizza itself. Right off the bat, super flaky crust. Like, this is practically like a pie crust. Look at that. And also, a very sweet sauce. And I know why it's sweet too, because I happened to look at the ingredients while I was baking it. There is cherry juice in this sauce. Now, if you think that's weird, just remember that honey pizza is now a thing. I literally did that for Valentine's Day. So cherry juice and pizza sauce doesn't ring as too weird to me. It really is like the Piccadilly pizza too. Like the cheese and the crust situation. Has a phenomenal crust too. As someone who likes pie crust, especially in savory situations, like I love when my mom makes quiche. Ooh, maybe one day I'll highlight that. Oh, quiche Lorraine. Anyway, back to the pie that's in front of me. So savory pie with just a very flaky crust in it is already starting on the right foot for me. And then a slightly sweet sauce. A lot of cheese. It's good. It's reminding me of, again, when I used to make quesadillas as a kid and load a bunch of cheese into it. so that some of the cheese wouldn't even melt. Because I am getting kind of that vibe to the cheese here, where it's not like... Oh, I did let it cool down a little bit. Dang, this is really good. I'm shocked that this is this pizza I've never heard of is already better than the Screamin' Sicilian or Tombstone. That is a little strange, home run in, but like that does kind of give you an idea of what it's supposed to be. It's a tavern style pizza. I mean, heck, I'm looking at the box now, and instead of being cut into triangles, it's cut into squares, which is how tavern style pizzas are made. Which reminds me of when I was a kid, we'd go to the Glenwood Bowling Alley, and they had this pizza with an insane sauce on it. Like one of the zestiest marinaras you've ever had. And whenever my brother had it, he broke out into hives. I don't know if he was allergic to red dye or just like oregano or something. It might be MSG. My mom literally stopped cooking with MSG because we broke into her kitchen flour once her chicken flour once as babies and broke out into hives. Because my mom's the kind of person who saves her dredge. She'll just put the flour into the freezer. Did anyone else's moms give them oatmeal baths? I had oatmeal baths a lot as a kid, as like a little kid, because I'd always end up with some kind of rash or allergic reaction. Very strange. Very strange. Honestly, like, the pepperoni is a disservice to this pizza. Like, this may be the perfect cheese pizza. The problem is it's got pepperoni on it. That one wasn't too bad. So, maybe it's less the quality of the pepperoni and more the variance in quality. Which is interesting. Like, I've never had a pizza vary from a pizza topping vary like that. I thought I'd have to go to Target for these because I'd never heard of this brand before, and when I looked online, Target was the only place that came up for it. But then I found it in Walmart. So, crisis averted. I didn't have to set foot in Target. Not that that's bad, it's just, you always spend so much at Target. Although, I used to love going to Target as a kid because Conagra Foods would do these taste tests, and they'd pay you with a Target gift card. And Target had these German little plastic knight figures. I believe they were made in Germany. And my brother and I would buy those. He had Angelo Boanargi, the Red Knight of Courage. And I had William Draco, the Blue Knight of Wisdom. Unfortunately, the White Knight and the Black Knight were on horseback, so and while you could take them off the horses, they still stayed bow-legged, so you couldn't really play with them as well as you could with Angela with the red knight and the blue knight. Those were everywhere for a couple of well, they started going everywhere for a couple of years. Like I remember even seeing them at Adventureland once, but then they just faded away. Shame too. They were very quality pieces. They were probably made for some kind of like miniature warfare game or something. Like, did y'all know um, the actor who played Governor Tarkin or Moff Tarkin? Not Basil Rathbone. I'll think of it eventually. Was a war game expert, or was played a lot of war games even as an older man. He'd have these like massive battlefields set up in his living room, which imagine this posh dude smoking a pipe in like a library with, toy cannons and knights on horseback and stuff, or well, cavalry. It was more like I think like 1700s warfare. So it was like cavalry and riflemen and stuff. Um, which makes me wonder. Warhammer 40K came out before he died. Do we? Do you think Moff Tarkin ran some orcs, some some rude boys? Oi, they drink the fungus beer and they think anything red goes fast, so it does go fast. For those who don't know what Warhammer 40K is, basically the orcs are the bad guy faction, and so Warhammer spans the lore of Warhammer spans 40,000 years. That's why the future-most part of Warhammer is called 40K. And orcs are these weird creatures grown from fungus in that world, and they have this thing where it's a collective, where like if they all think something, it exists. It's real. And I forget what it's called, like a collective reality thing. I don't know. And so like a few things that orcs believe are things that are red go fast. Things that are purple are stealthy. They can literally slap junk together and make guns and ships just because they believe they can. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating idea, and they are like basically the only faction worth playing, other than maybe I don't know. Skaven sound pretty fun, but I don't know if they exist in 40K. Skaven are rat people. Don't play as humans. Humans are boring. You always go for the weird ones. Always go for the weird critters when you're playing a game. That's why if you play Elder Scrolls, you ignore all the humans and elves. You play as a cat, a lizard, or or a dark elf. But I guess that is an elf. But it's yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. It's funny to imagine that actor who is that very respected actor playing with toys. If he can, why can't we all? As C.S. Lewis once said, "When I grew up, I put away childish things, including the fear of childishness and the desire to be very grown up." Anyway, we should get back to this pizza, and I should grate it now. Going to, this might be, it's probably going to be one of my highest ranked ones. Starting with the crust. That crust, I love it. I genuinely love it. It's literally a pie crust. It's flaky. It's wonderful. I gotta give it a 10 out of 10. The sauce, it's pushing the limits of what I like is sweet. Like I can kind of taste the cherries after a bit. That could be psychosomatic though, so your mileage may vary. I'm gonna give that one a 6. The cheese, again, love it. It's big, it's massive, it covers the pizza. I literally thought there wasn't any sauce on this when I first pulled it out because I'm like, wow, there's no Wow, it's all cheese. I don't see any sauce. I gotta give that a 10 out of 10 as well because it's good cheese too. And finally, the pepperoni are pretty subpar. I'll give them a 3. Um, so let's see. 3 plus 10. 3 plus 10 is 13, plus 6 is 19, plus another 10 is 29. Divide by 4. That'd be like a 7 point, minus 29, minus 28, 1, 4. So that's 2, okay, 7.25. Which again, I believe might be our highest score yet. Like, this is a great pizza, dragged down by just a little too much sweetness for me, and a subpar pepperoni. My advice: get a little hot sauce with it, maybe Cholula. Get the cheese pizza and add your own pepperoni. Like there's a dozen different really good pepperoni brands out there. Anyway, I'm full. This is going in the fridge. Yellow good one. This is Royce Miller. I'm outie.